Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. You ever have those times where you go, I don't know, I haven't bought that many games recently. I bought this and I bought that, and it turns out that you actually bought a lot of video games. This is one of those times. I'm saving the biggest stack of them for last because it's all Wii U stuff, and I've gone really hard at Wii U, and that's what I figure most of my stuff is that I'm going to talk about here. But holy shit. Yeah, I'm gonna get busy. I get started right now. First thing to get out of the way. Switch games. I only bought 2 Switch games this month because there hasn't been that much. Waiting on other stuff. Not even pre-ordering Splatoon at this point. Because I never really played the first Splatoon that much on the Wii U. I figure I'll wait until I'm really comfortable paying the $40 to $50 that it's gonna be. I did buy ARMS. I pre-ordered ARMS because I thought it looked great, and as it approached, I got more and more excited. And it's fantastic, but I don't see my stuff sticking with it for a long time. So, I like it. I've already played it. The game that I haven't played that much actually though is Cave Story. I bought this for obvious reasons. If you don't know, because it comes with all this shit in it. It's still in my Switch. But I haven't played a whole lot of it. I actually had the 3DS copy, which is actually really rare at this point, but I only had a cartridge. And when this came out for the Switch, I was like, well, it's going to be based on whether I really want to pay that extra money to buy a new version of a game I haven't really played. I really liked it. I just haven't been able to. I haven't felt like the need to play it. So it's like starting my Switch backlog with a game is Cave Story. So, but I have the physical. I have all the stuff with it. I even went and paid $6 extra to get it from GameStop, so I could get the little keychain with it. So that's it for the Switch. We'll get all the little small ones out of the way first. I grabbed 2 PS1 games. Of course, with all the Shaq stuff, I had to have NBA Hoopz. I had a disc only of the PS2 one. And I actually thought that this was a lot more based on how much the Dreamcast one is. Dreamcast one for this and Showtime is actually, fairly expensive for, any sports game. But this is really cheap and plays almost exactly the same as it would on PS2, so I went with this one because it's complete. And I saw this on GameSack, actually, them comparing 2 tank games. This is Mass Destruction, and they compared it with another game. I don't remember what it was. But I knew this game was cheap, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to grab that because it's a tank game. Sabaton, you play tank games. Tanks. So, Mass Destruction 2. I wouldn't have actually had any PS3 games if I hadn't just gone out today and found this at the thrift store. I've actually been playing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on PS1, which is, it's easy and it's kind of pandering, but it's actually, it's fun to play. It doesn't break itself or anything. And last month I got Lego Harry Potter 5 through 7 because that's the easiest way and the best option that you have to cover the last couple of installments. But this was cheap, so I picked it up. And I actually figured if I ever picked this up, because I knew I would at some point, I always figured I'd get it on the Wii. But there was a PS3 copy at the thrift store, $5. I said, yep, I gotta do that. So that's really what a lot of these games come down to, because I actually, I'm actually gonna drive that point home by getting started on PS2 and Xbox, because I have a fairly large stack of PS2 and Xbox games this month. And the point that I always want to remind myself of is the reason that you get these games is because you don't buy them from work, you don't buy them online. You find them and you know the value and you know that you want them and you don't pay nearly as much as the real retail price of them that they're going for. For example, Need for Speed, you pick this up really cheap. And there's a lot of copies of it, so I finally picked one up at a thrift store and I said, you know what? I'm going to sell the other PS2 ones of this I have. I have Underground on the Xbox and Underground 2. But this is in the 1001 Games to Play Before You Die, and it's the only Need for Speed one, or one of the only Need for Speed ones, I think. And I'm like, you know what, fuck Pro Street, fuck Carbon, I'm just get rid of those and I'll play this one. This will be the one if I ever play a Need for Speed on the PS2. It'll be this one, it looks pretty cool. So Need for Speed, another game I had, it's weird, I got actually several basketball games this month, and that's the only one sport I don't do. But NBA Ballers on the PS2 is kind of the weakest of, that period of time where street basketball, just like street racing and stuff, street, tuning and things in car games was huge. And so this is based on like one-on-one if you never played it before, and there's a couple of them. There's 2 on the PS2, and I had a disc only of the second one, Phenom. The absolute most hilarious thing about this game, though, is you fire this up. I just wanted to make sure it was good to go and everything. And the theme song, there's a whole intro that must have been cool as shit in like 2003 or 4, and it's a whole like rap track about playing a video game, NBA Ballers, which is all about street balling and stuff like that and one-on-one. And I think the guy who was in the game, the rapper that was paid to do this game, his name was, I think, Supernatural or something. And for the first 4 bars, the first section of the song is a repeat 4 times. It goes, Ballers! And it has not aged well. It sounds absolutely hilarious, and you laugh at this guy so hard if you watch this video. Go look it up, whether you want to finish this video or not. Go look it up right now on YouTube. It's absolutely hilarious because it's so goofy. So that's NBA Ballers. That's the first one, which is fine. You don't need to play multiple. The Punisher. The most interesting thing to me, I don't really do a whole lot of superhero stuff. I don't follow Marvel. I don't do anything like that. But this is sort of like, it reminds me of like Dead to Rights, and those other or Max Payne too, because that's sort of the same character, Frank Castle. I'm also into the Punisher a little bit more than anybody else because there's the best Megadeth song is written about the Punisher. Holy War is the Punishment too, half of it anyways. And it's also interesting because it's made by Volition, who they make Saints Row now, I believe, and they also made the Red Faction games, which are like kind of cult hits, and I think they also made Summoner on the PS2 as well. So they're actually a company that was pretty busy at the time, and nobody really gives them a whole lot of credit. But yeah, they don't really fail very often. This game's also super, super grotesque. It's very, very violent. It's more violent than like your standard like GTA or even Saints Row games. There's a lot of brutal shit in it. That's what I heard. There's like executions and stuff. Actually got a couple. I got a couple more wrestling games this month. My favorite one, the one I remember playing the most, was 2007. I already had that one. But the reason I bought 2007, the one that I specifically wanted to have on the PS2, was because of GM mode, which was first introduced in 2006. And had its last incarnation in 2008. And my hope with 2008 is that you could take ECW and make it not shit from the WWE perspective. You probably can't, but, it's pretty much doomed from the start. But, that era is kind of important, especially the fact that, this was made in 2007 and has right before the ECW brand on WWE really lost all chance it had of succeeding. I know the first segment on the first episode of WWE ECW was the fucking zombie, so it was trash from the beginning, but you still had a chance. It probably, it would have been like right after December to Dismember, somewhere around there. But yeah, you still had a chance. I still believe in it. I still want to be Tommy Dreamer. I still want to be the Sandman in ECW in a good wrestling game, not ECW Hardcore Evolution. This is a printed case because it had a rental case on it. But this is Legacy of Kain Defiance. The only Kain game that I'm interested in, I've had Soul Reaver. I've owned Soul Reaver, and specifically 2. And I sold it because I was like, I don't really feel like I'm going to get into this game, but I do feel like I'll get into Blood Omen. And I remember being a kid and actually wanting this game for Christmas really bad because I thought it looked so badass. And I think the main thing that I want to remind myself about this game is that when I was a kid, the story is really cool in Legacy of Kain. That's what I've always heard. And the style. And I don't think I would have really understood the story when I was a kid. So I'm hoping that I will now. So if I ever do Legacy of Kain, I have Blood Omen, which is like a Zelda clone at that time. So I'm interested in that. I'm interested to play Blood Omen 2 in this game. Because I think the main character, Kain, is actually a little bit more interesting than this guy, Raziel, whatever the hell his name is. Raziel. Yeah, Raziel. So, yeah, that's, like I said, like, with the PS2, with this stuff, I always get this stuff for cheap, and that's why I don't feel that weird about it, because with all the games I get, I specifically avoid paying that much. I just pay what I know. Which is actually, with these two games, which are games that are worth, like $10 more than I paid for them, and that's why I never owned them before, but Freekstyle and Downhill Domination, both supposed to be really good. Like, I'd rather play these games than Dave Mirra. This game is actually by Insomniac, and I think there's unlockable characters, including some characters from War of the Monsters are in this game. And they're just crazy, wacky shit. Of course, this is, two great developers. You have Insomniac on this one, and EA Big on Freekstyle. You really can't go wrong. Even though, I'm not super into, like, biking and stuff like that. But, yeah, grab those games for cheap. You keep them. This is actually a game I saw when Plumpy was on the quest to get his name back from What Culture WWE. I actually watched them, the segments that they did with all the really good wrestling games, because I was like, I really have to make sure if they're the best wrestling games, I want them. And so I'd always had my eye on Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, and I never picked it up because I said, well, you haven't even played the one you have on Game Boy. I have Fire Pro Wrestling 2 on Game Boy. And the moment I knew I was going to get this game was when Adam Pacitti and Plumpy, Adam Blampier, picked their match, and they didn't really know what they were doing, but they picked a barbed wire exploding death match. And I was like, yes, I'm getting this. And also, Adam Blampier picked Andy Spirals, who's obviously AJ Styles, and I was like, yes, I'm buying this game. I'm getting this game now. And I ordered it for $10 on Amazon. It came complete. I'll get to another point about ordering stuff on Amazon from the warehouse and stuff, but I'm glad. And also two original Xbox games. This is Obi-Wan, which is an Xbox exclusive game, and I always thought that was weird that they got exclusive Star Wars games. And also SSX On Tour. I'll just get SSX On Tour out of the way real quick. It's the fourth one. At this point I have 2, 3, and 4 now, so including this one. And it's SSX and it's EA Big. I will say I wish I could get it on GameCube, but it's more on GameCube because it has the Mario characters in it, the same thing as NBA Street. And as awesome as that is, I never really feel like paying that much more for them, unless they're the most important one to me. Like, if Mario and Luigi were in NBA Street 2, I would have that for GameCube. But I kind of just go with whatever it's like the cheapest option for them. Obi-Wan, though, always interested me that it's an Xbox exclusive game and that this game exists at all. It's not supposed to be that great, but I'm very interested in the very cool character that Obi-Wan before Phantom Menace is. Because when I watched Phantom Menace as a kid, I didn't even realize how crappy it was at the time. But I really thought that Obi-Wan was cool, and watching him in the original trilogy, and thinking about his place, also watching him in the new movies, I think he's probably the most interesting character because they fucking ruined Anakin. Obi-Wan, especially with the Qui-Gon Jinn dynamic, I always thought was really interesting. So even if this game's not good, I'm interested in that. Cool. And you know what? I'm gonna save the PS4 stuff as well because I actually bought PS4 games this month, which is weird because last month I didn't really buy any, if maybe a couple. 2 Wii games. This is We Love Golf, and you'll notice it's another Wii Golf game, which doesn't necessarily mean it's good, but it's Capcom, and it's also Camelot. So basically, what it seems to me happened with this game. There's also, what is it called? Hopefully, I can see it from here. Super Swing. I have Super Swing Golf, which is from Tecmo. Wii Golf games, if they're not complete garbage, are always kind of cool. And Camelot, being the developer for Mario Golf, didn't make a Mario Golf game on the Wii, which you would think that Nintendo would right away want to do that. So I guess Capcom just came in and was like, hey, you're not busy doing Mario Golf, or, even Golden Sun. It's at the DS one. I think that's them. I might be wrong. But hey, we'll pay you to make a golf game anyway because it's the Wii. And so this is a cool game. And there's also, like, you can get, like, Street Fighter outfits and stuff, or Capcom outfits in general. I just think that's kind of cool. There's no Capcom characters, but they make plenty of reference to Capcom. And then this is Wing Island. I had never seen this game until I saw it at Goodwill. And it's Konami Hudson, from the time that because Konami owns Hudson, so anything by Hudson is pretty much published by Konami now. And it's a flight sim. It's kind of like, Sky Odyssey. I'm always interested in Sky Odyssey, even though I know I'm going to be bad at it. And even Arrow Wings, I did think I was going to like Arrow Wings, and then I really didn't, because I was bad at it. But what baffles me about this game, though, is that it's a flight sim about birds who fly planes. Which doesn't make sense to me. The main characters are all birds. And I don't know why that's a normal trope in things. Like, this is not the only time I've ever heard of birds that fly planes. Like DuckTales. DuckTales has, it's all about ducks. So if they're going to have planes, they're going to have a duck flying the plane. But, this is not the only time I've ever heard of that. And I thought that was so weird. But yeah, it's Wing Island. I'd never seen this game before, so I picked this up at Goodwill. It's cool. And 2 more wrestling games, actually. That's it for wrestling games. Yeah. The only GameCube game I got this month, it was weird because I didn't watch Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret play this game. He played this for his anniversary show, like, right after. But WrestleMania 19, I knew I had to get it as soon as I heard about it because the career mode in this, or the campaign story mode, is not your typical campaign mode. It's something very, very different. Also, this was a disc only. I printed the case, but I got it really cheap. So, the story mode is that you can pick a regular character or you can make a character. You can pick one of. I tried it out for a little bit. I picked Christian because I love Christian. He's super underrated. You are a disgraced employee of the WWE who has had your contract terminated and been kicked out, literally dragged out of the building as your first cutscene. And Stephanie McMahon comes up to you and says, "Do you want to get revenge on Vince? Well, let's ruin WrestleMania." So they're literally building a big arena for WrestleMania and doing all this promotion for stuff for WrestleMania, which is going to be 19 in the game. And you have to do missions to ruin WrestleMania. The first mission, I tried it out, is at a construction site, and it said throw the construction workers off the platform so they can't build the arena. And I literally was throwing people out of off a platform up in the air. Construction workers. Average, just regular dudes. And I was like literally throwing them off of an in-construction building to prevent them from building an arena to hold WrestleMania. And I was like, this is fucking insane. I have to have this. So that's WrestleMania 19. I also got another wrestling game, 2K14, the first 2K game for 360. I also got this for used bookstore, I think. Super cheap. And first of all, I have to have the Daniel Bryan cover out. If you don't know, this game has a reversible cover with The Rock. That's the manual. He's on the front cover. As much as you love The Rock, in 2014, 2013, I was not going to put The Rock on the cover. That's Daniel Bryan's time, baby. So, I played this for a little bit, and the main reason I bought it is because there's a 30 Years of WrestleMania mode. Unfortunately, I can't get past stupid-ass WrestleMania 6, where I have to play as somebody I hate even more than Hulk Hogan, and the only time I've actually played this game has been during the Hogan years, because you have to go in order, and I'm so upset about that. I just want to get to Stone Cold. I just want to get to the Attitude Era and play the Stone Cold matches and play WrestleMania 17 and all that shit. But I can't. They won't let me get past stupid ass WrestleMania 6. Whereas my least favorite people ever go on to have a decent match. I'm saving for last PS4 and then Wii U. One PSP game, another basketball game. Oddly enough, and I did not buy this to play basketball on my PSP. I actually bought this because there's a bunch of mini games, which I thought was crazy, including pinball. Not the greatest pinball, no. But, it's a sports game for the PSP. It's super cheap. I was like, yeah, I gotta have this. Um, 2 Super Nintendo games. The only cartridges I have here that aren't Switch cartridges. 2 Super Nintendo games. The first one is Super Batter Up. So this is, you can see it's by Namco, which means that this is basically, it would be Super RBI baseball, except Super RBI was the name was licensed to, I think, Sony at the time. But this is Famista Family Stadium, which means that this is real RBI baseball on the Super Nintendo, how it should be played, and it's actually really good. Family Stadium is the best baseball game basically through like 85 to Super Nintendo or N64, beginning N64 era, except maybe Ken Griffey. And then this is actually On the Ball by Taito, and I'd never seen this cartridge before, and I got it for under $10. And I was literally like, I had it in my hand, and I was like, well, I don't know what this is. I have to grab it, because by Taito. And right before I went to pay for it, I said, oh, this is, and I don't know how to pronounce it necessarily, but it's Camel Tree, or Camel Try, which is a weird, obscure arcade game from Taito that's on Taito Legends. And it's about moving a ball through a maze. If you've never played it or never seen it before, you can look it up, but it's also kind of like the special stages from the first Sonic game where Sonic kind of tumbles and you move the stage around him. That's how it controls too. So this is Camel Try, and I did not know that it was ever ported to anything. But it's called On the Ball on the Super Nintendo. And then PS Vita. I only got 4 games for the Vita, so I have a total like 9 or 10 games now. And I actually had a lot of trouble finding Vita games because I got this. This is I absolutely love. I had to have this game. If you can't tell already or you can't read it, this is Hotline Miami, which got a physical release, which is in English, of course, and everything. In Japan, it got a physical, and I had to have it. Paid $25 for it on eBay. It was one of the most expensive games I bought this month. But it's amazing. It's hard. It's frustrating, but it's so good. And I have a physical copy of it. I had to have it. And then a couple games that I knew I was going to pick up, and I just waited to find them in physical and like GameStops and stuff. Because I go into GameStops and I look at all the same things. I specifically keep going into GameStop to buy Vita games and Wii U games because their selections are going to be comparable, if not better, than what we have at work. And even if it's the same, or even if ours is a little bit bigger, they're going to have different stuff because it's just the sections can only be so big. They're going to have different if it's not more. So Little Deviants. I knew I was going to pick this game up, and it's not anything really special. I think it's actually an AR shooting. It's augmented reality shooting gallery with a bunch of little cute characters and everything. So it's really cheap. It's like $3 if you can find it, and it was complete, so I had to get it. No big deal with that. Same with MLB. Dirt cheap at GameStop. I just waited until I found one with a cover, because I'm not going to be buying loose Vita games that are this big, and I'm going to lose them. But, the show's always good. And it's a game I'm going to play. And ModNation Racers, so I still haven't really played any of them, but I have all 3 ModNation Racers games now. And this one's like $7 at GameStop, so I was actually surprised it was that cheap. But yeah, I was like, I'm going to grab ModNation Racers. So that's it, and then we got to some of the bigger stacks now. I actually just got home with a couple games, including this one. GameStop's having a sale on Outlast Trinity, which I was interested in when it came out a couple months ago at like $40. And it's the only game on their sale that I was really interested in. It was $20, so I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely getting this. I might be too much of a pussy to actually play it. Same with another game on here that I learned there's not actually going to be anything in, but when I started playing a different game, I'll tell you about it. But yeah, Outlast Trinity. And you know what? It feels heavy. It's still sealed because I literally just bought it. And it feels a little bit heavy, so I'm actually really happy about that. I like when games are heavy. And of course, I've been playing the shit out of this all weekend. I'm about halfway through Crash 2. Not going 100% yet, but I might go back. I don't know how I'm going to feel when I finish all 3 of them. But I'm really, really surprised at how happy I am with all the ways the game looks. even with the little bit tiny changes, What Culture Gaming actually is a really, really good video, like a roundtable discussion about what actually did change to make the game harder, because it is a little bit harder, especially the first one. Definitely go check out that video if you're interested in, because it's a really, really good video where they can pretty much confirm that there are changes, and this is what they are, and this is how we feel about them. I really enjoyed watching it. I think it's Jules, Peter, and Scott, I think. Good video. I like Jules and Peter, especially. I haven't seen much of Scott, so. This is a game that I had my eye on when it came out a couple months ago, and I didn't really have that high hopes for it for any critics or anything. And ArmaGallant, Decks of Destiny. I'm a sucker for card games. And this is actually kind of looks like it's based on like Lost Kingdoms with the real-time card battling stuff. Select your loadout and go, and then use cards to fight. And it dropped below $10 on Amazon, so I was like, yep, grab it, give it to me. Haven't played it yet. Don't really have the best hopes for it. Actually, I'm gonna do these two together. This is Town of Light, which I pre-ordered, and it was like, so it was $20 for this, and this I got not long after it came out. This is $40. Both of these games are actually from a new company, or done mostly by a new company called Wired Productions. And this is, as far as I know, the only two games they've made so far. But they've done a fantastic job with these. They're kind of picking up where Working Designs used to do, and a little bit of what Xseed used to do, but not with obscure Japanese games, just doing it with good PC and other kind of like indie games. I mean, this is a walking simulator. I fired it up and I was like too paranoid about it to keep going, but I will finish this. And this is a little bit more interesting, but mostly I'll show you what these have in them. They have these art cards, which is one of the cool, really, really cool things that they're doing. Like, they're heavy when I get them in the mail. Really, really happy. And that's the only thing that's really in them, but still, it's a good physical edition of a game that most likely wasn't going to come out physical if a company didn't pick it up like these guys. So, absolutely, kudos, Wired Productions. Keep doing what you're doing. But about Victor Vran specifically, this is a Diablo-style RPG. If I play an RPG, most likely it's going to be a Western RPG. And most likely it's going to be kind of close to Diablo, one of the only RPGs I've ever finished. Diablo 3 specifically. But what really, really got me about this game is the Motorhead logo right there. The character, he's a little bit cheesy. But he already has a pretty close, resemblance to Lemmy. He's very clearly based, at least partially, on Lemmy. And Lemmy, if you didn't know, was a huge video game fan. Loved his Pac-Man, went to the Rainbow, played Pac-Man, slot machines. Not the slot machines or games, but, he liked his games. And they worked with him to make a DLC pack based entirely on Motorhead. So it's actually based on Motorhead, has an awesome Motorhead soundtrack, and also Lloyd Kaufman is in it. Toxic Crusaders guy, Lloyd Kaufman. I didn't even know who he was until a little bit afterwards, but I was like, who the hell is this guy narrating it? Why do I care about him? But yeah, they worked with Lemmy before he died to make this DLC pack appropriate, and I was like, yep, that's going to confirm I'm going to get it, and I'm actually going to play it. And you don't even have to finish the game. I played like 2-3 hours of the main game, and I was like, I really just want to try the Motorhead one. You can just jump right into it. It's really cool what they did with that. And then finally, Killzone Shadowfall. Last month I got Killzone Mercenary on the PS Vita. And never being a huge Killzone fan, I played the second game and finished it. And I was like, yeah, I enjoyed Mercenary enough that I was like, you know what, this is really cheap. I'm going to grab it because if it's at all similar, it's not supposed to be nearly as good, but if it's at all similar, I'm going to grab Killzone Shadowfall for PS4 because it's real cheap. And then the big one. This is a bunch of Wii U games because I'm going really, really hard. I'm not going full set. The one thing I won't do full set on Wii U because if you're not aware, the heavy hitters for Wii U are all shovelware, so I'm not going to buy any shovelware for the Wii U, or what really obviously comes off as shovelware. But if you don't know, the big three for Wii U at this point, or I think the big four even, are Hello Kitty Cruisers, which is like a $150 game, The Croods, Turbo Super Stunt Squad, the snail movie, and I just saw this the other day, Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympics 2016. So those last three are all like $80 to $100 games, crazy. So I'm not doing that. I can't pay that much for shovelware. But I will buy everything on the Wii U that's even remotely interesting to me. So here we go. I'm really going hard at this, and I still have like 15 or so games that I'm still looking to pick up. First of all, I mentioned it with Fire Pro Wrestling. The only game I've ever ordered from Amazon Warehouse, and it didn't come with a case. Amazon Warehouse does this weird thing where they say it may not come with the original case, and I've always been lucky with them, I guess, and never had that not happen. And this came in the mail this morning, and it was a disc only, and I was like, fuck. So this might just bother me for the rest of my life at this point until I get a case for it. But at least, it wasn't even on a cover project, but at least I was able to print a case for it. It's just going to bug me now because it's not blue. So I don't have a blue case for it. But I have Sonic Lost World. I heard some decent things about it. I'm not buying Sonic Boom. I can't buy a game that bad. That broken, specifically. I just came home with these two, actually, because I was out looking for Wii U and Vita and picking up Outlast. And I got Sniper Elite V2, which is interesting. That I, because it's on the Wii U, I picked it. I picked it up because it's on the Wii U, but I hear the word sniper and I'm like, nope, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to play it. If I play like Call of Duty or something, the last thing you'll ever catch me doing is playing with a sniper rifle because I'm the worst. It's the absolute opposite of how I play. But you know what? This might actually be half decent. I heard they made 3 of these, so it's probably pretty good. And even though I don't do like stealth games, I pair those together, snipers, stealth. But this could be fun. I might enjoy that. I think it's actually about World War II. This one in particular, Berlin 1945. So, I think the new one, the third one, is about like Africa or something. So, I'm less interested in that than I am about a World War II game. And then I know this is trash. I know this game's trash. I heard it's really bad. But Avengers Battle for Earth, it was under $10. Not shovelware, but not good. I was like, yeah, fuck you, give it to me. Give me this trash game that's not actually shovelware. This is an interesting one. I'd seen this, this came out not long after the Wii U came out. I've been seeing this the whole time I've had the Wii U, and I'm like, why do they keep making Pac-Man games? Nobody cares, unless it's an arcade one. And then I actually looked at it, and first of all, it's based on a new TV show they have, and I'm like, why do they have that? But this, especially the second one actually has really good reviews. But these two games have surprisingly good reviews. And I always thought that about PacMan World. I always thought that about, any Pac-Man game that wasn't arcade original. But apparently they're not bad. So I got the first one. I haven't gotten the second one yet. But now I've seen some reviews for them, and they're supposed to be pretty good. So, platforming adventures, Mario style. This is actually one, even before I went really, really hard at the Wii U stuff, I still really wanted this. Because it's Paper Mario, and I knew that I was going to be like, if I don't get this now, it's no way it's going to sell well. And I finally, saved up, some coupons and stuff for GameStop, and I was like, yeah, I gotta get this. I paid, $25 for it, which is lower than it's ever going to be, realistically. And I was like, hell yeah, I gotta get Paper Mario for the Wii U. Whatever they did to it, I played Super Paper Mario. I haven't played Stick or Star. But I love Paper Mario, the 2 originals, and I know that it's not like that, but same with this game. I actually never wanted this game, especially because I saw it when it came out, and I was like, doesn't that just look lazy? I think there's only one court. There's it kind of just got, slapped together. I didn't even really think they put a whole lot into it, but it's the lowest now that it's ever going to be, because there's no way it sold very well. coming out as like one of the last Nintendo first-party games on the Wii U last fall, I think. I think I got this for like $20, so I'm like, yep, it's never gonna be lower than that. And you know, I'll do these two together because these are the two games that made me go, wow, you know, I must be serious about the Wii U. One of them just because I bought a fucking Madden game from 5 years ago now, actually. 5 years ago. This would be Madden 13, the only Madden on the Wii U. It's dirt cheap right now, and it won't be forever. So I said, you know what? I'll see how they do it. It was under $10. I'm going to get... Actually, I think I did a buy two, get one free that they were doing for the first couple days of July. So I got... Actually got 6 of these games from GameStop on the buy two, get one free in the span of a couple days. Especially this week, I've gotten a ton of Wii U games. I've been like, wow, I don't know how I get this much this fast. But the other game that made me say, wow, I gotta be serious about the Wii U is I bought Devil's Third. Again, I was in GameStop, and there's actually a GameStop. It's pretty far away from me, but I was actually meeting a friend for a drink. And I was like, you know what? I'll go to the Goodwills, and I'll hit that GameStop, because it's the biggest GameStop I know anywhere around here. It's a huge standalone GameStop, not in a mall, not in anything like that. It is in a plaza. It's in Amherst, New Hampshire, and it's a huge space for a GameStop, way bigger than you usually expect them to be. And I looked over the Wii U stuff, and it was Devil's Third, and I was like, holy shit. It's so weird to think about Devil's Third, because games that are considered heavy hitters for other systems, like, I know for a fact why Clay Fighter and why Bomberman Second Attack, why those games are so hard to find on the N64, and I have those. And I know why they were expensive, and I know why they're the heavy hitters. It's so weird to think of a game that came out and you actually followed it when it came out, because I was like, me and Matt at the store, we were like, what's going to go on with this game? What's going to happen with this game? Because, you know, it's a huge exclusive for them, and it's got hype to it. It's actually got hype after the Wii U was considered a failure, and it came out, and the critics just destroyed this. And I remember, like, 2 weeks after this game came out, it was like $100 game, because nobody had stocked it, nobody bought it, especially, and, you know, being an M-rated game and everything like that, maybe it was just like, you know, they printed it low, and the stores necessarily weren't going to carry a mature game for the Wii U, which had already failed. So I don't know how that happened. It died down a little bit, and I got this for $45, which is the lowest I ever expect to see it. It's definitely at its low point right now, though. So if you're going to be picking up Wii U stuff, and you have any interest in Devil's Third, and even before I picked it up, I was like, is it as bad as I thought it was? Is it as bad as I heard when it came out? And it's really not. It's just that it didn't come out as, you know, it's over the top, and it's cheesy, and it's B-movie, and it's all that. And I don't know what people are expecting, especially critics, but they bashed the shit out of it. Totally destroyed its reputation, totally destroyed all its hype, because it had hype. And it immediately became a hard-to-find game. And I found a physical copy, and I was like, I'm going to get this right now. And that's the point, like 2 weeks ago, that I knew. I was like, you know what, you're really serious about this Wii U stuff. There's a bunch more of these I have to get, Lego games. I don't have Avengers, I don't have Jurassic World, I don't have the Batman ones. So there's a couple more Lego games I have to get. But I did pick up the Lego Movie game. If you haven't seen the Lego Movie, it's pretty cool. It's just fucking... I heard it described as Toy Story on cocaine, and that's 100% correct. So the game sounds pretty cool. And Lego Marvel Superheroes, like I said, I'm not huge into superheroes or anything like that. But between this, Avengers, Batman, you know, there's plenty of Lego games to get on the Wii U. Epic Mickey 2, I know this game's trash. I heard nothing but bad things about it. I played a little bit of the first one, but I couldn't really do motion controls on the Wii at the time, so I was like, I put it down. But this was under $10, and I was like, yep, give me this Wii U game. I don't know how bad it's going to be. This is another thing that shows you how serious I am. Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations. I don't even watch Adventure Time. I keep thinking that I'm going to watch Adventure Time and get into it, but as of right now, I've never watched an episode. But there's the two Adventure Time games on the Wii are games that are an interesting genre that I don't think they would just shit out for, merchandising purposes. So this game is sort of like an adventure game, with like mysteries to solve and stuff like that. And then the other game is Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, which is a dungeon crawler, with a sort of like Zelda perspective to it. Both of those games, I think, are interesting games that might not be great for what the greatest games in their genre, but I'm interested enough in them for being on the Wii U that I would buy them for a license that I don't watch. Same thing, they're on the Wii U. I played Assassin's Creed 2, and I didn't really care about it. I'm not into stealth games, that's all it is. Most stealth games, at least. But the thing about Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 specifically, not just being on the Wii U, but I wanted Assassin's Creed 3 because it's about the American Revolution, and I think that's cool. And Black Flag because it's about goddamn pirates. And it's supposed to be a really cool pirate game, saddled by an Assassin's Creed game that was getting formulaic at the time. So these two are really cool. I tried a little bit of 3, and again, I'm not getting super into it, but I'm mostly interested for the historic things that they do in it, and the story that they tell about that time period, and they're on the Wii U. One of my absolute favorite games from the last generation, I remember I bought Arkham Origins for the Wii U when it came out, and it took me forever to actually finish that game, which was crazy, because Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, I beat both of those in under a week, including Arkham Asylum, which I 100%ed in under a week, because I got absolutely crazy over them. So finally, I picked up Arkham City for the Wii U, Armored Edition. Most importantly to me, not just it being on the Wii U, but it has all the DLC for Arkham City that I actually never played because I borrowed it from the library, and therefore I didn't get all the Catwoman stuff or anything like that. And finally, this is a weird game to end on. Another game I picked up just because it's on the Wii U. Splinter Cell. I don't play pretty much any Tom Clancy game, and I especially don't play Splinter Cell because I can't do stealth games. However, this isn't supposed to be that bad. It's not bad. And I've been hearing from people that it's more, since Double Agent, it's been more of an action game than a stealth game, so I might enjoy it. Again, super cheap. I got it from the buy two get one free, and it was still already under $10 at the time. So that's a big old stack of Wii U games, and I'm not done buying Wii U games because I'm a crazy person, and I wanted to do it before they're out of stores, and I can't find them or anything like that. So yeah, most of my focus right now is really on Wii U. And I just find other stuff, and I pick it up because I'm a collector and it interests me. But sometimes I look at these stacks and I'm like, shit. I gotta play in 64 games. I have to play Olympic hockey. Stay tuned for Olympic hockey later today. But thanks for watching me talk about all these games I bought. And yeah.